Masechta Chullin, Daf Yud Aleph Amar Aleph. We're starting from the top, second to the top line, the first word on the second line. No honey milli. Okay, here we go. From where do we know these words of the Rabbanan, the Zil Basaruba, that we go after the Raiv? So there's three different cases that I can give you about Raiv. One case is when you have like meat in front of 9 stores, with 9 kosher stores, and one store is treif. So we say, it's lefandenu. You have 9 stores that are kosher, so you say the meat is coming from the kosher store. Then you have bitul b'raiv, which means if there's a little iser that was nisadav with most of heter, so the iser is bottled to the heter. Or you had like by the shchita till now. By the shchita, you don't have, even if you shach the simanim 3/4 of the way, the kana and the veshet, if you cut it 3/4 of the way, that's enough. That's basaruba. That's also an inyan of raiv. In fact, for asking, where do we know that we follow the raiv? It's a pasuk achri rab nahatis. Of course, we go after the majority. So, what's the shaila? Says the Gemara, Rubadis come on. You're going to Teshchanus for Sanhedrin like a Bayla. By a rave that's mamish in front of us, there are like 9 stores, and there's a piece of meat. 9 stores which are kosher, 1 store which is treif. Of course, you go according to the majority of the stores that are right here in front of you. You can count the kosher stores, and it's 1 treif store. Or by a Sanhedrin, that you need 23 dayanim, and 12 say that he's zakai, and 11 say that he's not. So you have 12 out of the 23 that are saying that he's good. Where was the shaila about that? From where do we know that we go after the raiv? Is by Ruba the Lesel Kamon, by a raiv that's not in front of us. Like by a Indian of a Yavama and a Yavam. So the halacha is, first of all, the whole purpose of the brother marrying the same wife, the sister-in-law, and you won't be over for marrying a sister-in-law, but just a big isser, is only because you're out to bring it, to establish for the brother a name. But by here we're talking about the child, the boy or the girl is a ktana, or the boy is a cotton. So then we say we gotta wait. We gotta wait because maybe the cotton, maybe the cotton will be a saris, or maybe the girl will be islandess, and it's not trying to have any children. So then there's mamish the iser of you're not allowed to marry your sister-in-law. But nevertheless, the Gemara says a cotton could be meyavma yavama, which is a ktana. So this is the shaila. From where do we know? Going cotton ktana and on. How do we know over there? We go according to the majority of children are not women. Girls are not islanders, and boys are not sarisim. How do we know that over there, even when it's leisel kaman? According to Hamei, they cannot get married. According to Hamei, chashin lemiyuta, we have to wait till they grow up. And then we know if they're shaykh to have children or not. Okay, Amr Abelazar, Yizak Simen, Zman Shevach Mechanish. These are the names. There are 7 answers that we're going to have. The first 3 are not going to be a raya. He's going to bring a raya and he's going to slug it up. Says, where do we learn it out from? Asya Meresha Shalayla. We learn it out from the cloud, from the head of the carbon of a oila. The other Quran says about a oila, v'nitach oisa linsachel. You should cut it up into pieces. You cut the limbs, and one of the pieces is the head itself. But so we learn out oisa linsachel. Whatever the Torah told you to cut up, that should be cut up. But the parts that the Torah already said that's already a piece. You cannot cut that piece into another piece. Like the head is a piece on its own. The head, you can't cut the head a second time into two. In fact, if you can't, let us worry that the membrane, it's like a plastic that goes around the brain, the membrane around the moyach had a hole in it, and that would make the animal treif. So how could we say that the carbon is a good carbon? Maybe it's a treif in the carbon. Only for sure the reason is we go after the Raiv, that most behemoths that are not treifus, so we don't have to worry. Maybe there was a puncture in the Alachen cup. Oh, very good. You said it right. So he says that maybe when we go bust the Raiv, that's an Ishkin Lachen cup. There's no hole in that. Yeah.
Why should he have such a havam in it?
It does happen.
Out of 100,000 animals?
It does happen. That's it. Frank, you want to be my, and the Gemara is going to ask, how do you know we're not checking it? How do you know we don't have to check it? Well, how do you know we're going to be semich on the rave? Dilma, the falalei, or butterclay. Maybe, Bahamas, you're going to split the head open, and you'll check it out. Are you going to say the pasuk says that exactly those pieces that you cut for the limbs, those should be cut, but you can't cut those into more pieces. How are you going to cut the head? Says that's only if you cut the head completely. But here, if you just make a little cut incision in the front, and you open up the head, and you see around the mouth, if the membrane around it is perfect. You open it up a little hard, you open it up and you see. No big deal, right? Says the Gemara, so that's not considered splicing it in half. But in a place where it's still mechuba on the bottom, it's still connected on the bottom, you just got on the top to be able to bake, that's not considered the pieces. So you don't have a raya. You don't have a raya, maybe they take a check by slicing the head on the top.
It was good.
And that's good. It's not considered cutting into pieces. So you don't have a raya that we go after the raya. So here comes the second eye. So the first eye we slugged up. What's the name of the first raya? The raya is the head of Oila. The head of Oila, we thought we cannot to spalt in the cup. You can split the head a little bit. Now he tells you could and check. So it loved after we were semicharei. We actually did a real bedika. We did a real bedika. Ma'abrei the Rabbi Noah says Asya. We learn again from a head of Mishvidas Etzem Pesach. Of the breaking a bone on Pesach. The Torah says, you're not allowed to break the bone. You're not allowed to break it. So here also, how could it be a good carbon Pesach? Maybe it's a treif from the behemoth because maybe there was a hole in the membrane of the mayach. So you have to say the reason why we say it's not treif. We're saying that treif behemoths are not treifis. Yeah, Basaruba. Satman Araya. Says, how do you know you have a raya? Dilma the manach gumartale. Maybe he put a coal, you're allowed to put a coal on it, and the kolale, and it will burn the head after the shechita body claim. Once it makes a hole in the head, so you can look in the hole and you see if there was a puncture in the membrane.
That's not called the splitting the head.
Oh, 1 second. Tanya, we have a price that says you're allowed to do it. One who cuts the sinews, so one who burns the bones, burns. Is not in the gedder of breaking bones. So you can check it.
How do you break bones today?
No, how? Very simple. You break the skull. You slice the skull. He's breaking it. Here he didn't slice it. He put a coal on it and it burned through. So again, we don't have a raya that he didn't check it, and we were saying on the Reiv that the Reiv behemoth ain't a treifis. Here we can say he used a coal.
You have to cut up the head?
You put a coal on the head, you let it burn, and you check.
That's what they did?
No, I'm just saying. They could do it. So you can bring the Reiv from here. If you wanted to check, if you had a chash, it's safe, you could check it. Now, the third Reiv is from a tail. Now, a tail is part of the spine. If the spine... There's something wrong with the spine. There's something wrong with the whole nerve system, and the animal becomes treif.
So the tail doesn't wave?
The tail waves. But by aliyah, one of the chalavim that they put on the mizbech was an aliyah by a shlamim, by a kam shlamim. It says, or by chatas, or asham, if it came from kvasim, whether it's charim or nekeves, the halacha was the aliyah, the tail was they put it on together with the other emudim, with the other fats on the mizbeach. So what happens here? So asme aliyah, the thing is that you put the aliyah on the mizbeach. And it says that the aliyah, the fats of the aliyah has to be complete. So once you take off the tail, and you put it on the mizbeach, you're unable to check the shedra if there was a problem, because part of the tail is part of the shedra, it's part of the spine. So maybe the spine, maybe there was something wrong with the spine, and now you can't check it. Elalav. So how can we say it's still kosher, even though now you can't check it? Elalav mishum damrin zil basaruba. Only you have to say because rei behemoths are not treifis, and therefore you go after the rei. Says maybe they cut. You still could check the spine because they cut with the spine branches off, and that doesn't affect the nerve system. It says, and that's where he cuts the tail. He says, so you can still check the shed if it's kosher. It says the Gemara, the Torah says, you know how far you have to go up with the tail? Till where the kidneys are. So it's mamish on where the shedder is.
Where you have to cut the aliyah.
Cut the aliyah, and you have to put them in his base. So once you're cutting there, you're never going to be able to check the shedder. It's so far up. Makmashak klaya, it says that's where the klaya is. We call it yoy. It says that's where the advice comes from. The klaya is from the kidneys. But that's how far up it is, the tail. That's where it's cut. So that's already a big part into the shedder. So if you cut that off and you put it on the mizbeach, there's no way of checking the shedder. Says, how do you know that you don't have to check the aliyah? Dilma, the paschal before you take the aliyah, before you cut it off, you split it open, you look through if the shedder, if the shedder is anything wrong,
you take off the whole aliyah.
and then you take off the aliyah. The Torah says it has to be tamim. The aliyah has to be tamim, and you're cutting the aliyah. How could you cut it? That's only if you cut the whole aliyah, split it in half. Then it's not tmima. But where it's still attached on the bottom, you only slice the top. That's not considered a non-tmima. It's still tmima because you didn't cut the through and through. So again, we don't have an eye. You could check. You still could check if it's treif or not. And we're not being soimech on the roiv that roiv behemoths ain't a treifus. Okay, so three rayas gone, no good. Now comes the rayas that are good rayas. We learned this din of halacha charay me'egla harufa. What is egla harufa? If they found a dead person who was murdered between two cities, they measure which city is closest to the mace. And that's where they decapitate, they cut off the head of the egla, and that's it. The Torah says, ha arufa, ha egla, ha arufa, meaning, and we dash in kishi shlema to heavy. It means that the whole animal has to be complete after the decapitation, after cutting off the head, just like when the animal was whole. You just cut off the head. You don't cut it into pieces. Everything.
The Egla Harufa is so the bury here.
So the Egla Harufa, they would cut off the head. It was done by a nachal, and the Sanhedrin or the Sanhedrin would come of that city, or the Ayonim. They would put the hands in the water, and they would say, "Kappa, huh? Yodeinu lo shafchu." A kappa be'amcha, because we didn't do the sin. We didn't do it. We didn't see it. We don't know. So he says, so there, you cannot, it has to be, the harufa has to be complete. There it says it has to be exactly like when it was alive. In fact, you want to, but how could you say that this egla harufa is valid to be a kapara? Maybe it's treif.
You can always examine the treifus.
How? You can't split the head here. Here it says, it's not like tmima or... That's the whole time in the head. Maybe there's a puncture in the membrane around the brain, around the mayach. Says the Gemara, and here you can't say to split the head because egla haruf has to be mamish like it's living, not to touch it. It's not like it shouldn't cut it into slices. So if you leave mechubah, it's not cut into half or.
So what? They can't examine the head after they cut it off?
No, you can't. You have to leave it whole. It has to be that we go after the Rav, that Rav is in a treifis, and that's why it was good. And if you're going to say, what's the difference if it's treif? It's Haglaruf, you're not shechting. Says it was already mentioned in the Beis Medrash of Rabbi Yanai, Kapara Ksiba, it Kikadoshim, it says Benegeya to the Eglaruf, as is a kapara for the ganze Stadt. if it's a kapara and it has a din like kachim, mamish like kachim, you can't have no. So you learn it's dinim from a dini karbonis, and if it's teif, it's not going to be valid for agla rufa. So we have a one good raya. Rabba barav shelo ama asya. We learn out mi para aduma. Para aduma is what do? You burn the red heifer, and you burn it right, and you mix it with mayim chaim, and you use that to spray on somebody who became tamei mace. The Amar Achmana, the Torah says over there, v'shachat v'soraf. It says he shachted, and immediately it says you burn it. Ma shchita sekishi shleima. Just like the shchita that you don't cut it into pieces before you burn it. You gotta leave it just as it was right when you shachted it. You leave it whole, and the way it is, that's how you burn it. You're not allowed to touch anything. So you can check the head. Let us worry that the head has it's treif.
It's like a comb ale, the whole thing.
The whole thing is burned, but here it's burned into ash, and we use the ashes. Yeah, but you're not allowed to touch it. The comb ale, it says but the pieces after the pieces that the Torah enumerates how it should be cut, you're not allowed to cut it weiter. Das nicht. Here it says you're not allowed to cut it at all. It says right away, burn it the way it is. So let us worry that it's a treif. Only why is it not treif? Because you go after the reiv. The reiv behemoth ain't treifus. And if you're going to ask, hey, what's the chilik? Now here you can ask by the Egel Arufa. Listen, the Egel Arufa has to be the age of 2 years. A treifa is up to a year, but if there lives a year, it's bechazaka that it's not a treifa. So here we have a chazaka. What's the shaila? Why would we ever think it's treif? So he says here we won't go after chazaka. Chazaka means right at the beginning you have to be muchzik. It's not a treifa. Not nochen vart na yo is nisbari geworden. That's not called chazaka.
So right away.
That's what he brings down from the thesis. Anyway, so what's the chilik? If you're burning this animal, who cares if it's kosher or the treif? I'm thinking, no, chatas karachmana. The Torah calls the para aduma chatas lemeinida. It says chatasi.
Yeah.
So it has a din like a carbon chatas. What do you mean? You burn it?
Chatas you don't burn, no?
A chatas, yeah, but this has a din as a chatas
To forgive.
to be mitar mason.
No.
Here it's to be mitar. There's different chatas. One is mechape. Here it's to be mitar. So we have an eye over here that by para aduma, that's a good carbon. We have to worry. Maybe there was I'm sorry, there was a puncture in the membrane of the mayach. We said we're not worried because we're going to be soymech on the reiv behemoth and treifes. We learn now from the Sorah HaMishtalech, there were 2 Seidim on Yom Kippur that were, one was Kodesh LaHashem and the other one was LaZazel. Very good. So he says, we learn out from the Sorah HaMishtalech, the Torah says, Ve'lokach eshnei hasidim. You should take 2 goats. And it says, that both Seidim have to be equal. Side the one coming LaHashem, side the one that's LaZazel. They have to be similar in every inyan. Let us be concerned. Maybe one of them is a treifa, and maybe even the sar that's mishtalech lazazel, maybe that's treif and it's possible, and it says it has to be exactly like the one that's kodesh l'Hashem. It has to be kosher completely. The only reason why we're not concerned because mezoymach on the reiv that behemoth ain't a treifes. What do we care? We're throwing this animal as a if a hard mountain that it should fall down a hard mountain. So the Gemara ha ein goydel kaivel azazel ela bedava harei l'Hashem, because the only type of a sorry, yeah, it has to be harei l'Hashem because you don't know which one is going to fall. It's a goydel. You make a goydel, you don't know which one is going to be l'Hashem, which one is going l'Azazel. So they both have to be equal as if it's l'Hashem. So I have to have the full kashrus there. So he says, "Ein goydel kavil l'Azazel ela bedava harei l'Hashem." It has to be. You can't even start the goydel unless both of them are good. Says and if you're going to say, "Oh, we're gonna," oh, I better drink it. I'm afraid your hands are moving. If you're going to say you baidik the soyer before you throw it down the hard mountain.
Right.
Says what about Tanan? We learned in the Mishnah, Loi hoyab magia lemachzas ha'at. What do you mean you're going to check it if it falls down the mountain? Already midway the mountain is already broken into pieces. The whole head is smashed and it may puncture holes. You're never going to know nothing. You can't check nothing.
It's too late.
It's too late, like you said. Right. So there's no way of checking if it falls down the mountain.
But you can't check when they're alive.
What do you mean? When how are you going to check? It has to be a live animal that you're throwing off the mountain.
Yeah, but the only way you can check is after they're dead.
That's
But
what I'm
it's
saying. Follow the life.
once you
goes
check
to
him
the
when it's dead,
mountains.
it's already tshmetet. It says already mid mountain, it's already smashed into pieces. Okay, so we have another raya. So far we have the raya from Paru
These are all
Aduma.
rayas.
Why don't
These
we-
are
why
all
don't we
rayas
That
that we
is
follow the
Egla
right,
Arufa.
right?
Paru- Yeah, that we
Why don't
follow
we
the
follow
right.
That it's kosher.
That it's kosher. Egla Arufa,
And
and we had the Paru Aduma
It's
and the Shnei Seirim.
Why did
So
we
it's
so many
three.
rayas?
That's how it is. So we're now 3 and 3. So like the Rabbi says, Asim Imake Aviv V'imai.
He bring another one.
We learn it out from the one who hits his father or mother. He makes a chabur in the father or in the mother. Dam Achmana Katli. The Torah says, such a boy, a Ben Seri Meir, you got to kill him. In fact, the mother of Eleichus Dumalav, maybe it's not his father. The mother we know
His
is
stepfather.
no, maybe the mother lived with other men. You can't tell. So the mother we know he came from this mother.
How do you know?
No, it comes out from a body.
you think
It's
by-
that's
They
the
look
body.
like the
No, no,
No,
no.
you think
But the father, you don't know who lived with
Mayor
him.
Eichel used to say
DNA, so DNA.
why he doesn't have a beard.
Yeah,
He said
no.
if in the Gerotten in the Mama.
Oh no, I thought Bashert. Okay. In fact, your mother is let's worry. Let's be concerned it's not the father because it could be another person who made it, who gave the stock in the pushka. You don't know who. Only because we go after the rave. That most of the time the father lived with the mother. So from the rave times, we'll say
Why can't they ask the
most of
mother?
the consummation. What do they call it? That they living together.
Why-
Most of the living together was with
Why can't they ask the
this
mother?
man.
Tell the
So
truth.
the mother wouldn't know who it came from.
Well,
She collected a lot of tzedakah. Okay, but the main tzedakah came from one man. So we say we go according to the Rav. The Rav. In fact, the mother of Mai. From where do we know that the Torah was machayev al pi rei be'ilas after the Baal? Dilma kegon shahaya aviv ve'imach havash m'beis ha'asurim. Maybe this is a specific case where the Torah says that he's a ben seri omer to this father because the case was the father and the mother were locked up in jail and they were the only two that could live together. There was nobody there.
Guards.
Oh, you learned. Oh, you read further.
I didn't really
In fact, the mother afilachi nevertheless. Ein apotrapos la'aroyis. It says there's nobody that could be achroi on this woman. So it could have been the guard, or it could have been the guard let somebody in as a quietly, and it happened.
For the right price.
So for the right prices, yeah. Sagt die Mother Rav Kahana. So the Rav Kahana, yeah, so you can't say that it's. So you can't say he's a Ben Seder Meira because because it was the only two. You have to say because.
What's the right?
You have to say You have to say Yosem Chadarev. Reb Eilis were from the father, and that's why he's the father. Rav Kahana says Asyam Ahirek Sanefesh. So now we're up to 7. So no, we did 7 now. Now we're 8. Rav Kahana Amar Asyam Ahirek Sanefesh. We learn now from that we go after the Rave from a Retzeyach. That the Torah says that you kill a Retzeyach in Bezdin. How could you kill the Retzeyach? Maybe the person who he killed was already sick and he was going to die anyway. So you can't kill him. He killed a dead person.
Is that the din, really?
He was
The guy's
against
still
us. He
alive?
was
You say
against
that-
us.
And we say, no, we do kill him. If he killed somebody, 2 Adam say, Reuven killed Shimon, we're not going to assume maybe
But let's say
Shimon
you
was
know that
dying
he's-
already.
Well, let's say that
We
he is
kill
afraid.
Reuven.
Let's say you know that he's going to die.
Then he's
Then
not
you can
chayiv.
kill him?
Yeah.
You can kill the guy?
Then you can't kill the Ratzcha. You
Okay,
cannot.
but I can kill the dead guy that's dying.
No, you can't kill the dead guy. You don't make him die faster.
You said he's not, but you said he doesn't get the.
He doesn't get
second
killed by Bezdin. You don't, it's
Oh,
not
so,
that
if
severe.
he wants to get even,
That doesn't
he
make
kills
him mutter.
You make sure that the guy's gonna die,
Okay,
then I can go kill him.
Okay, it doesn't make him mutter. Ela la mishum da'amrin zil basar ruba. Only because most of the people are healthy, and if he killed them, he killed a healthy person, and that's why he's chayv
You don't
misa.
do this, people.
And if you're going to say you do an autopsy on him, says, how can you say that? How come a novel? You're being mevazer the mace, and you're not allowed to do it.
This is what I miss.
You're not allowed to be benavel the goof of a mace. Oh, says the Gemara, but maybe not to kill. You're going to kill somebody. Maybe we should make an autopsy. Maybe he killed somebody that was dying already. If I say right, maybe we should. Says the Gemara, you don't, because then there's no end. Meneiches, let us be afraid. Shema b'mekayim, even after you do the autopsy, you're not going to know, because meneiches shema b'mekayim sayiv nakavava. Maybe in the place where he stuck the sword, there was already a hole from before. So what's the tell from the ganze autopsy? You're going to check where the hole is. Are you going to find another hole? I mean, and even if you don't find another hole, it doesn't mean that he wasn't
The
dying.
only way to kill somebody was
Even
with a
if-
sword.
That's all. So even though that was the easiest way, so maybe he stabbed him in a place where he already had a hole, so you won't be able to prove it. So we have to say that's why we go Hilach HaCharev, that he's Chayv Misa, because most probably he wasn't treif.
Kill a live guy.
Kill a normal
person.
a living person. Avinu Amam. Okay, that was 8, 9. Avinu Amam Hashem Eidim Zimmin. We learn out from Eidim Zimmin. What does Eidim Zimmin mean? Eidim Zong Eidim Sheker. And they say Reuben killed Shimon on Tuesday. 2 other Eidim come and say, how could you testify that Reuben killed Shimon on Tuesday in New York if you were with us in Israel that same time and date? So what do we do to the Eidim? We do to what they try to do to
this guy.
To this guy, they try to kill me, kill them.
Yeah,
Eye for eye. Only kasha, like kasha also. They didn't kill him. Vasisim like kasha zomam. So we do to them like they wanted to do. In fact, the Gemara v'leichos dumahach asina the bay the teif abba. Maybe on the person, why should you kill the Eidim Zemimim? Maybe on who they testified about the guy who got killed, right? Who they wanted to kill.
He was.
Maybe he killed a tape. Maybe he killed somebody that was already dying. Says, what are you talking about dying? So only why is he going to be chayv? We say because we go after the rave. So you have to say why we're going to kill him, because we go after the rave. And if you're going to say, okay, we're going to check if he was a treif or not.
The dead person.
The dead person. But we're not talking about a dead person. It has to be alive. If he's dead, then we don't say kasha zomam. Kasha zomam, like they wanted to do. But if it happened already, kasha also, they're not Eidim Zayim, correct. Beribi is a description of a special rav. It's a name of a coveted person. It says Abisha Beribi or Ablaza. Ablaza Akapa was called Beribi. Others say that's the name of a Tana. Beribi Aima Loy Hargu Neharagin. Hargu Ein Neharagin. If they didn't kill the person that they testified on Ruvain they testified that Ruvain killed somebody, and they didn't kill Ruvain yet, right? So then they didn't get killed. But if Besna already killed Ruvain, then
It's funny.
huh? It's exactly
lucky not to get killed.
right. So the Eidim Hazimim do get killed only in a while the Nidoin, who they're testifying against, is still alive. So you can't check if he's treif or not. So why do we kill them? You can't check if this live guy who they're testifying, accusing that he should get killed in Bezdin, you can't test him. Okay, we got to kill you now. We're going to check if you're a treifa. Then there's no kasha zamam. That's kasha also. He has to be alive, and you can't check him. So why do we kill the Eidim? because we are Seimech that this Nidain, who they testified about to get killed, is a Gesundte Cheveman. That's all. Ravashi Omar, Ravashi says, Asya, we learn that we go after
What
the
number are we up to?
10.
How many more to go?
This is the Achrim Besugya Seno. It says, this is the last one. Ravashi Omar, Asya, Mishchita Atzma. We learn out from Shchita itself. The Abba Nachman of the Torah says, Shchit ve'echel, that the Shchita is mated the behema, that you should be able to eat it. In fact, how could you be mated? Maybe where the sheikhet shechted, is showing you a neck from freer. There was already a hole. There was a so it was treif already before. So how can we eat it? Only for sure the reason that we could eat after the shechita, and we don't say, oh, he shechted it in a place where there was already a hole. No, we're going to say it's kosher, and we can eat the meat. Why? Because we are seimech on the reiv, that the reiv behemoths ain't treifis. Most behemoths are not
How does
treifis.
Rameya hold here in these cases?
Wait, we're getting to that. I said this whole, with all these rayas and this whole sugya before Rav Kahana. Lord Rav Kahana, Kamei Rav Simi. Others say Rav Kahana said it before Rav Simi. Either Rav Simi said to Rav Kahana, or either Rav Kahana said to Rav Ashi. What's the raya from here that you go after the raya in all dinei Torah? Where you're able to check, we don't go after the raya. We do not, but fish do not go after the raya. Where you're able to check. Where you're not able to check, then we'll follow the raya. So you have no. But normally we don't go after the raya. Says I'll prove to you. If you're not going to say so. According to Meir, who's concerned of the minority, like by the Yom Yavama, cannot get married. He says, you got to wait till they get older and see if they're able to have kids. If you don't wait, he says there's a big issue. You're not allowed to marry your sister-in-law. Says the Yemana the Chayish Lamiyuta, Hachanamid Lo Yachal Bisa. You're going to say, according to Meir, who's Chayish Lamiyuta, then you're never allowed to eat meat. Maybe according to Meir, this takazeh, you cannot eat meat. Says, what are you talking about? Pesach, Kadosh, Ma'ikla Meima. What are you going to say about the coming Pesach? It says, V'achlas Abasu B'layla Zeh, and it says that this basa, the kapara is totally in the achila. So how could you say that? But I'm talking about by other kachim also.
Yeah.
So I think about it. Ella heicha de avsha, heicha de yavsha. So here, obviously, a mayor will agree that where you can check, you check. But normally you're not. Hachanami. Here also, benegay all these rayas that you brought that heicha you can be mechalik. In a place where you're able to check, you check. But if you're not able to check, you're not saying